Now this is not the first film you've made together. This is the
third now for Jake and I, yeah.
So let's hear about that collaboration a little bit.
Well, I think we were both really suspicious of each other with drinking buddies. It was, we were getting to know each other, and then we had such a good time on that, that we made a movie called Digging for Fire together. And thank you. And then coming off of that, I think we wanted to challenge we had done a sort of romantic comedy, and then Digging for Fire was more dramatic, and I think we just, the collaboration felt good, but I think we wanted to keep challenging ourselves to make different kinds of movies.
Yeah, to give away one of our secrets, and I realized it because I was talking about it at press, but we've always talked about making 9 movies together, like a menu, like you go to a restaurant and there's 9 courses, and so we start talking about the movies like the next course, and Digging we thought was way funnier than it was. And we really did. We thought we made a funnier movie. And we went to Sundance, and the vibe was really dark. And we looked at each other, and we're like, what the fuck? So we're like, all right, our next dish has to be more fun.
Well, it's interesting, too, because you start...
That was it. I'm sorry, I got nothing else. That was it.
Well, in your early days, you were so improvisational, but it doesn't feel that way anymore. And sort of like, how tightly scripted was this, or written?
This was scripted. I mean, we still improvised the dialogue, but Jake and I spent months writing a real script. I mean, we had an 85-page with dialogue and everything. But then, actually, you guys are a better gauge of this. Like, we sent you scripts, but then remind me how much.
Yeah, the script that I read was a very thorough outline that you guys had all the beats kind of beat it out, and sorry, I have gum because my mouth tasted like cotton balls. But all the dialogue was improvised. You guys had lines in there, and what I remember is that this is the information that we had to get across in the scene, the plot points. But you guys had a very thorough outline. Yeah.
We also really threw Iceland into the deep end because she's done a lot of films in Mexico, but this is her first English language movie. Yeah. And then she not only had to do a film in her second language, but improvised it as well.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I've never acted in English. It was my first time. So I was very excited and very nervous. And yeah, there was no script for me. I mean, Joe knew what he wanted. He always knows what he wants. But I had no lines, so I have to improvise everything. And I was like, oh my God. This is such a challenge. I've never done anything in this language, and then I have to improvise on top. So it was really, really exciting.
Well, these are such wonderful actors. How did you cast these other two?
Well, I had seen Joe in a film called Queens of Country, which
never came out, but you saw a good. but yeah. But I'm glad you did see a cut of it, yes.
And, I knew his work from a lot of stuff. But anyway, I was blown away by his performance in Queens of Country, and always in my head was like, man, I really want to work with that guy. He's a really good actor. And then, I think when Jake and I sat down, there was a lot of connections between sort of, you guys spent a lot of time independently building a backstory of the Garrett family and who your dad was and all that kind of stuff. But I think we connected on the tone of the movie and also on poker and some of those elements.
Poker and well, I've always been a fan of Joe's movies for a long time, and it's a testament to him, the type of movies that he does. He surrounds people that love to make it about the work and not about the kind of all the other stuff that surrounds a lot of what we do, and that helps because that's why his movies are so good. Jake's a great writer as well as an actor. Iceland, terrific actor, and like everyone just loved making movies, and that's why I was thrilled to get the opportunity to work with you. So thank you. I just wanted to say that.
How did you connect with Iceland?
Iceland, well, Jake and I wrote a character as a nurse who was a Mexican immigrant living in Chicago. I mean, Chicago has a really big Mexican population, and so we were writing, Jake and I both grew up in Chicago and know the area really well, so we were writing for a Mexican character. And then, of course, the agencies, not to throw them under the bus, but kept presenting us with American actresses or non-Mexican. And at some point, being really frustrated, we were just like, all right, we gotta take matters into our own hands and go find we should just be looking in Mexico.
So we went down to Mexico and we found her.
I was a nurse, and they found me.
No, but I got really frustrated, and I was like, you're not presenting me really good options. And so we just searched harder, and then I Skyped with some people, and I Skyped with Iceland, and she made me laugh nonstop. And so yeah, I offered the role. But we talked a lot about the process.
And we really got along because he said that I'm the biggest goofball that he have ever met. And he's the biggest goofball I've ever met. So I think it was just chemistry, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really, Iceland arrived in Chicago, and basically, like, I picked her up from the airport, and it was 4th of July, and brought her straight to my backyard to like an American 4th of July party.
Yeah.
And
very American.
I was so afraid you would not be at the hotel the next day. You would have already gotten on a plane and just left. I was like, oh no.
Okay, first question here.
Nice Cubs hat.
Yeah, as a fellow Chicagoan, just want to say thank you and well done. Quick two-parter. For Joe, are there plans for season 2 of Easy? If so, do you have any neighborhoods in mind? I'm hoping for Bridgeport, where I live. And then for Jake, how many World Series is this Cubs dynasty going to win?
Season 2 of Easy is happening. We'll start shooting it this spring. And actually, Bridgeport, probably. It's a neighborhood I also want to get to. So,
nice.
Yeah.
And I think we might win again this year.
I think so, too.
I do. Nice hat.
All right, thank you.
Go ahead, this side.
Howdy, Dax Stringer, Austin, Texas. Nice to meet you. So my question goes to no one in particular, but did anybody practice gambling or go into any copious amount of debts to prepare for any of the roles or lawn care services for the film?
Let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not getting in your business, buddy. Character's not named Jake. No, we were actually...
Yeah, we have a fun story. I love poker, and Jake plays cards, so we went to Commerce Casino, and Joe had said, listen, think about your dad, think about what kind of guy he is, and we knew that he was going to be a gambler, and we're playing cards, and we're at Commerce, this casino down in California, and we're just hearing these people say, chips, and all these guys just were losing, and we were like, you know what, I think that's our dad. I think we just found the name for dad.
Chip.
Because we didn't want to call him dad, we felt our characters weren't close enough to call him like dad or dad, and so we called him by his nickname that his buddies called. But that was a fun kind of discovery of that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, Jake took me gambling too, which I have always had an aversion to gambling just because I know I could get really into it, and so it's a self-defense mechanism, but I also felt like I needed to see that world a little bit. So we spent a really fun night where you kind of showed me a bit of the ropes. But it was, it's a really interesting world, and we wanted to get it right, but we sort of built this casino that Jake's character is gambling in. Our production designer built it from scratch in an empty space, and it was a big effort to get that world right, the right amount of what we had seen in real life to sort of attempt to emulate that.
It's interesting, there's a genre of gambling films, but there are people that are independent filmmakers that are like gamblers, but you've never been that kind of filmmaker. You've never risked more than you had, and you've always been very smart about it. You've always worked within the means, which is very
also, my only time I ever went gambling in real life was basically, like, every time I won, I was like quietly sticking my winnings into my pocket. But I also know so little about gambling that I thought I was getting away with something and was going to get in trouble. So then I was just so nervous the whole time, even though I won a little bit of money, because I was just like hiding it. And then I was expecting a guy to tap me on the shoulder and be like, "You're not allowed to do that. You're supposed to lose it all." And then I retired after that. I retired ahead $100 or something.
Go ahead.
I just had to say I liked the film a lot, and I was very surprised at how happily the film ended. I was kind of expecting things to go a lot worse for Jake's character at the end. Had you considered a less happy ending at one point?
I don't think I ever considered a less happy ending. The only thing I considered was making sure that it's like, the thing for me is, I just hate it when you know the happy ending's coming. There's no stakes in the movie. And so I think we felt like we knew where we wanted to take Eddie, but we wanted to make the kind of movie where something could go wrong. I watch a lot of movies where I'm like, I already know how this is gonna go. This guy's gonna be fine. We wanted to make sure it felt like Eddie might not be fine.
We knew, this is our third movie, so we know what it is. We know that it's a fiercely independent movie. We know that it's small by nature, but we wanted a 3-act structure. And we wanted the first act, the second act, the turns, and we wanted that big ending when Nikki Excitement's carrying me out, and then we wanted, Eddie to have a happy ending. So what I agree with you on is we wanted it to be as honest as we could, and we wanted it to feel earned, but we wanted it to end happy.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. And last one.
That's a lot of pressure. Anyway, so when they were telling me about the movie before I came in to see it, I hadn't really seen your stuff, and I knew some of yours, and obviously none of yours. I've only seen like 3 telenovelas, and they're like 30 years old. I knew his. But, and you're good. I like you.
Well, great question, man. Thanks for coming out, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Were you ever afraid you were too close to the edge of real for this film? I mean, I know it's a comedy, and damn, it was funny, but fuck, it was dark. Damn, it was like, I saw This Is Your Death, and this was darker as far as I was concerned. So, how did you really feel about the darker turns that you were taking in the film? And, I guess the comedy was more just to balance that out. Is that how you felt about it?
I don't think we quite, it was interesting to us because as the script started to go around, I think we were getting feedback really early on that it was tense. More tense than we maybe felt, and that we were putting Eddie through a lot. And so I think knowing that at the script stage was useful going into the movie to make sure that the comedy balanced that out.
But I also think it's the beauty of being able to do an indie movie, because if this was a studio movie, they would say, is this a tense movie or is this a comedy? And making it where it's a small crew and it's just us and there's nobody telling us what to do, we wanted both. We wanted a story that people are into and you care about and you want to watch. And if we wanted people to be tense, but I don't want to watch a movie for an hour and a half and not laugh. So we were like, well, we want laughs. And on set, we like to joke around. So we didn't want to be joking around and then they call action and we're not having fun for a movie that we're paying for. It just seems ridiculous to lose money and not have fun. So it became very clearly, we want to tell a 3-act structure, we want the stakes to be real, but we want it to be fun and we want to laugh. So yeah, I like that question.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Congratulations, guys.
Thanks,
it's great.
guys.
Everybody.
One sec.
Thank you.
It's on Netflix, right?
Yes,
So in
Win
terms
It
of
All will be
availability-
available April 7th on Netflix, so you can tell your friends. Thank you.
Thank you.